There are places in SoCal where past, present, and future mesh as one, where the marriage of the landmark and the location are as perfect as can be. Welcome to the Griffith Observatory.
It isn't that easy to get up the hill, but once you get there, this Greek Revival, Beaux-Arts, modern building suddenly comes into view. It's a three-domed building that operates as the hood ornament of Los Angeles.
The man behind the wheel of the well-traveled Camaro is Dr. Ed Krupp, director of the Griffith Observatory. Hello, Dr. Krupp. So nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming.
Hey, cool car.
And yours.
Thanks. It doesn't get any better than this. A visit to a vintage landmark in our vintage cars. Dr. Krupp's been making this drive in this car for nearly 50 years.
But here's the astronomer's monument.
Wow, look at
Six
this.
of the world's greatest astronomers. This goes back, actually, before the observatory was even built. This was the first thing put in place.
So this has been pretty much most of your adult life.
It's it is my whole adult life.
All of your adult life has been working here at the Griffith Observatory.
Very inbred, you know.
Really is your home, but you love it.
Oh gosh, yes.
On one of the loftiest summits is the Griffith Park Observatory, where John and Jane Public, when they tire of gazing at the transitory stars of screen and radio, can go to gaze at the more permanent stars of the heavens. The Griffith Observatory has been a star since construction began in 1933. When it opened in 1935, it looked much like it does today. And just like today, people loved it. These home movies from 1941 capture a weekend visit. What I love is how much of the original design remains. So when it opened, from what was inside of it? I mean, obviously we're in a different era today with all this technology, but what was in there? In a sense, it was very similar to the observatory of today, except it was, sort of its time. The telescope at the far end is the Zeiss 12-inch refractor. That is the telescope more people have looked through than any telescope on Earth. And then the big dome is the planetarium, the Samuel Ocean Planetarium. For me, a visit here is all about the views. I love the pathways that take you under the archways and around the building. Built at the near top of Mount Hollywood, you get a perspective unlike any other in LA. The view from the Griffith Observatory never disappoints. Obviously, the Hollywood sign is behind me, and as we continue, you can see the Santa Monica Mountains, you can see the ocean on a really good day, and there's Century City out there. We keep going up around the observatory, and downtown is that way. So where are we headed to now? It's downright difficult to keep up with Dr. Krupp. The Daily News called him a real-life Indiana Jones. Coincidentally, he's about the same age as Harrison Ford, now riding again as Indy.
Well, that's sweet. I got interested in ancient and prehistoric and traditional astronomy. So that's everything from Stonehenge to Egypt to China. And so by now, I have been to over 2,200 ancient sites around the world.
Today, we're headed to a historic site of a different kind. So we're going to go down to the parking lot where the famous scene from Rebel Without a Cause was the knife scene.
This is the spot in the film Rebel Without a Cause where the tire gets punctured and the knife fight occurs. Well, this is a new telescope, but this is the architecture.
But you can definitely see it in the film where they're standing.
If you go to the film, you're going to see the same view. Rebel Without a Cause in 1955 was the first movie that starred Griffith Observatory as Griffith Observatory.
Dr. Minton! Dr. Minton!
Dr. Minton was up there in those doors looking out. Are you compared to Dr. Minton sometimes?
I have nowhere near the acting ability that he had, but I'll tell you, I told those guys, no knives. Griffith Observatory, it's been in so many major motion pictures, it ought to have a star down on the boulevard for it. Doesn't, but, we should.
I just heard you play, and I wanted...
And then comes in this one for La La Land. And I'm thinking, La La Land, that sounds stupid. And so I watched as they're filming this scene, coming in that side, and they're moving toward the rotunda. And the next thing I know, the camera is doing this extraordinary twisting around and swinging up to the Hugo Ballin murals.
These amazing mural ceilings aren't just Hollywood magic. They're what greet you when you enter this phenomenal building. And let me tell you, it's not just Hollywood magic. It's for real.
and I'm stunned. I'm stunned by the cinematography, and I go down to the deputy director and say, this movie is going to do for us what Rebel Without a Cause did, and it did.
And it did. Whoa. Wee. Oh, I love it. Neat.
Welcome to the Samuel Ocean Planetarium.
I love it. Ooh, it's very blue.
It is. These are the walk-in lights that we use when people come in for a show.
Mark Pine is the deputy director of Griffith. And so what has been redone since, let's say, the 80s?
You have the seats, the walls, the dome, the Zeiss projector right in front of us.
I love it.
It is a remarkable machine.
I'd say.
This is LED lights, optical projection,
Wow.
fiber optic cables. So it reaches this height, and then the lights would go out and the stars would come on. And people still gasp at it. It is the most complicated, most complex, most technically advanced theater in Los Angeles.
Wow.
A city of theaters.
What would you like people to know about the observatory that have never been here?
It's free. One, you get to look through telescopes for free. You get to see these exhibits that help bring the cosmos down to Earth. And you get to see the planetarium, not for free, but that planetarium show is inexpensive and actually mind-blowing.
So the next exhibit is the Tesla coil. It was donated to the observatory in 1937. It has nothing to do with astronomy,
Okay.
but it is perhaps one of our most popular exhibits.
Okay.
So come over here.
Come
Just
on.
press that-
I get to press that?
Press that white button.
Oh,
and hold-
okay. Whoa! It's that kind of exhibit that brings out the kid in everyone. Once the sun set, it was time to try out my favorite part, the historic Zeiss telescope. Hi. I love this room. Alison, nice to meet you. Vanessa Alacron is in charge here. The Zeiss telescope weighs 8,000 pounds, but she makes it float.
A little scary, isn't it?
The lights flicker like something out of an old science fiction thriller as Vanessa pulls back the dome and maneuvers the Zeiss into place.
My favorite thing is seeing somebody see the rings of Saturn for the first time. It's guaranteed. They are stunned, they turn away from the eyepiece, and this smile comes over their face. You can't buy that.
Our views were limited by the clouds, but if you want to see those rings, head down to the new Gunther Depths of Space, part of the 96 million renovation and expansion that took place from 2002 to 2006.
Big
Ooh, I
picture.
love the wall.
Biggest astronomical picture in the world.
Really?
2 million objects
What?
recorded there.
Among the mysteries of the cosmos is the mystery of the original Griffith guest book.
Everybody that came to opening night was asked to sign the guest book, and they all did.
Yeah, there's the dates, 1935, 514.
Yeah.
Lost for decades, the old book was recently found. A tradition from the past, fittingly back for the future. You know who signed it? Me.
There you go.
There's my name.
Okay, all right. I see Griffith Observatory not just as a public observatory. It is a place, an emblem. It is part of the heartbeat of Los Angeles, and for that matter, as far as I'm concerned, the whole planet.